Yo, what is up, guys? Have you ever felt like you have all these English words in your head, but the moment you try to speak, you just freeze up? It's the worst, right? You want to sound chill and natural, but you end up sounding like a robot. Well, today we are fixing that. We are going to break down a real-life situation, a family ski trip, and I'm going to show you exactly how to speak English with confidence and flow like a native. We are ditching the boring textbooks today. By the end of this, you'll have the slang, the grammar, and the vibe to handle conversations like a total pro. Let's dive in. Before we get into the story, I want to give you a sneak peek. We are going to cover 10 major questions that come up in this story. If you can master these, you can handle almost any casual conversation. 1. How do you describe a view that's almost too good to be true? 2. What's the difference between saying I am ready and I have been ready? 3. How do you admit you're nervous without killing the vibe? 4. What does it mean to be active versus just busy? 5. How do you pronounce comfortable the way Americans actually say it? 6. What is a stance and why does it matter in sports? 7. How do you use the word gently to modify an action? 8. What does it's your turn actually imply in a group setting? 9. How do you compare two people using slower than? 10. What is the hidden double meaning behind break a leg? Ready to unlock these? Let's get into the story of Mark, Lisa, and Sophie hitting the slopes. So, here is the setup. We have a family trip. Mark is the dad, and he's the only one who knows how to ski. Lisa, the mom, and Sophie, the daughter, are total newbies. They've never done this before. They arrive at the mountain, and it is gorgeous. Sophie looks around and drops our first major line. She says, "It looks like a cartoon movie scene." Question 1. How do you describe a view that's almost too good to be true? Answer: okay, let's break this down. When Sophie says it looks like a cartoon movie scene, she's using a simile. In American culture, especially for Gen Z, we love comparing real life to media. If something is perfect, bright, and colorful, we say it looks cinematic or like a movie scene. You don't just want to say, "It is beautiful." That's boring. You want to paint a picture. If you walk into a place and the snow is perfect white and the sky is blue, saying it looks like a cartoon means it's flawless, it's magical. It's that main character energy where everything around you feels scripted and perfect. So next time you see something amazing, don't just say nice. Say, "Whoa, this looks like a movie scene." So, Sophie is hyped. Mark asks her, "Are you ready?" And she hits him with some serious enthusiasm. She says, "I've been ready for 3 days already." Question 2. What's the difference between saying I am ready and I have been ready? Answer: this is a grammar hack that makes you sound fluent instantly. If Sophie said, "I am ready," that's present tense. It means, right now, I'm good to go. But she says, "I have been ready." This is the present perfect tense. She's emphasizing that she didn't just get ready this second. She has been waiting, anticipating, and hyping herself up for days. It adds emotional weight to the sentence. If you're waiting for your friend to pick you up for a party and they finally arrive, don't just say "I'm ready." Say, "Bro, I've been ready for an hour." It shows you are impatient or super excited. It changes the whole vibe of the sentence from a fact to a feeling. But not everyone is as hyped as Sophie. Lisa, the mom, looks a little sketchy. She's not feeling it. Mark asks if she's okay, and she gets real. She says, "To be honest, I'm a little nervous." Question 3. How do you admit you're nervous without killing the vibe? Answer: the phrase "to be honest" is your best friend here. In text, we write TBH. In conversation, it's a softener. If Lisa just said, "I am nervous," it sounds a bit blunt or like a complaint. But saying "to be honest" signals that she is opening up and being vulnerable. It's a great way to bond with people. If you're trying to improve your English communication skills, using transition phrases like this is key. It warns the listener that you're about to say something real. "To be honest, I've never done this." "To be honest, I'm kind of scared." It invites the other person to comfort you, which is exactly what Mark does. He tells her she's not alone. Mark points out that Sophie has never skied either, but she's not scared. He explains why. That's because she's active and loves sports like you. Question 4. What does it mean to be active versus just busy? Answer: in American English, being active usually relates specifically to physical movement or lifestyle. If you're busy, it means you have a lot of work or homework. But if you're active, it means you're always moving. You go to the gym, you play sports, you hike. Mark is giving Sophie a compliment here. He's saying she has an athletic mindset. If someone tells you, "You're a very active person," take it as a compliment. It means you have energy. Lisa admits she hasn't exercised in a long time, which is why she's nervous. This is a great word to use when describing hobbies. "I'm not really into video games. I'm more of an active person." Mark notices Lisa looks stiff. He says, "You don't look very comfortable." Question 5. How do you pronounce comfortable the way Americans actually say it? Answer: okay. Listen closely because 90% of students get this wrong. You might see the spelling and want to say comfortable, 4 syllables. But in the US, we eat our words. We squash it down to 3, or sometimes even 2 syllables. We say, comfortable, or even comfortable. "I'm not comfortable." Hearing someone say comfortable immediately signals that English isn't their first language. If you want to blend in, relax your mouth. "This hoodie is so comfortable." Lisa wasn't feeling comfortable because she was scared of falling. Mastering this pronunciation is a huge step in sounding natural. Mark decides it's time to teach them. He starts with the basics. He tells them to bend their knees and lean forward. He calls this the basic stance. Question 6. What is a stance and why does it matter in sports? Answer: a stance is the way you stand. Specifically when you are preparing to do something. It's not just standing in line for coffee, it's a posture with a purpose. In boxing, baseball, or skiing, you need a stance. Mark tells them to bend your knees a little. This is the command form. When you are teaching someone, you drop the "could you please." You just say the verb. Bend your knees, lean forward. Sophie nails it. She says, "Like I'm about to sit on a chair." That is a perfect visualization. If you are ever describing a body position, comparing it to an everyday action like sitting in a chair is the best way to be understood clearly. Mark wants them to loosen up before they start skiing down the mountain. He tells them to kick their legs back and forth, but he warns Sophie, do it slowly and gently. Question 7. How do you use the word gently to modify an action? Answer: gently comes from the word gentle. It means doing something carefully, softly, without violence or force. Sophie is a kid, so she's probably swinging her legs super fast and wild. Mark is saying, "Whoa, chill out." You use gently when something is fragile or when you want to avoid injury. Place the glass down gently. Speak to him gently. In this context, it's about physical control. He doesn't want her to pull a muscle before she even starts skiing. It's a great adverb to add to your vocabulary when you want to tell someone to be careful without screaming stop. After the warm-up, Mark asks, "Who wants to go first?" Sophie yells, "Me." But then, disaster strikes. Sophie falls immediately. But Mark says something interesting. "It's okay, she fell the right way." Then, he looks at Lisa and says, "All right, now it's your turn." Question 8. What does "it's your turn" actually imply in a group setting? Answer: it's your turn simply means the opportunity has passed from one person to the next. But in this context, it creates pressure. Sophie just fell. Now Mark is looking at Lisa saying, "Your turn." It implies a sequence. We use this all the time. Playing board games, it's your turn. Ordering food, is it my turn? Or doing a task. Lisa is terrified because her turn means she has to perform in front of everyone. But notice the support system here. Mark isn't forcing her, he's encouraging her. He says, "I'll stay close to you." He's reassuring her that even though it's her turn to be brave, she isn't alone. They take a break at a cafe because Lisa is stressed. After resting, they talk about how they did. Lisa praises Sophie, but Sophie hypes her mom up too. Sophie says, "You skied well too, Mom. You were slower than me, but you didn't fall at all." Question 9. How do you compare two people using slower than? Answer: Sophie is using a comparative adjective. Slow becomes slower, and we use than, than, to connect the two people. You were slower than me. This is a backhanded compliment. It sounds nice, but she's still pointing out that her mom was slow. But for a beginner, slow is good. Slow means safe. You can use this pattern for anything. This phone is better than that one. Today is colder than yesterday. Sophie adds the kicker. But you didn't fall at all. She uses at all to emphasize zero falls. It makes the accomplishment sound bigger. If you say I didn't eat, it's a fact. I didn't eat at all means you are absolutely starving. By the end of the trip, Lisa is loving it. She says, I think I'm starting to love skiing. Mark is happy. He says, as long as no one breaks a leg, it's a perfect trip. Question 10. What is the hidden double meaning behind break a leg? Answer, okay. This is a fun one to end on. Usually, in the theater or performance world, break a leg is an idiom that means good luck. You say it to actors before a show. However, Mark is a dad, and he is making a dad joke. He is using the literal meaning. Skiing is dangerous. People actually do break their legs. So he's playing with words. He's saying, if we stay safe and don't get injured, break a leg, it's a good trip. But generally, if you hear this phrase in America, like before you give a speech or take a test, the person isn't wishing you pain, they are wishing you luck. Context is everything. In a hospital, literal meaning. On a stage, idiom. On a ski slope, probably a bit of both. The wrap-up. So, look at the progress Lisa made. She went from saying I'm nervous and I've never done this to I think I'm starting to love skiing. That is the power of just trying, being active, and having a support system. And the same thing applies to your English. You might feel like Lisa at the beginning and nervous, thinking you might ruin the conversation. But you just have to learn the basic stance. Learn the phrases we talked about today. To be honest, I've been ready, and getting comfortable with your pronunciation. Once you start using these phrases, you're going to realize it's not that scary. You might fall, you might make a mistake, but like Mark said, you can fall the right way. It's all part of the learning process. I really hope this breakdown helped you understand how to sound more natural and less like a textbook robot. If you found this helpful, do me a huge favor, smash that like button. It really helps the video out, and make sure you subscribe to Learn English with Jennifer. I've got so many more videos coming that will help you master American English without the headache. Leave a comment below using the phrase "to be honest" so I know you watched until the end. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.